It's kind of helpful to know that your trajectory before you begin filming. That rarely happens. Very often when we're doing a series, we have no idea from week to week. But in this instance, it was a little closer to doing a film, so you knew a little bit about your arc. And so what that meant was when we began filming, and those images of Siggy at the beginning, when she's in that position of power, we knew that we could go the full distance of, we wanted it to be sort of as specific as possible so that the transformation would be that much more extreme. And I think that the wardrobe department really helped me with all the cream, the light colored costumes and all the jewelry, and we did this very extreme hair, and she had all this eye makeup, and I really thought of her as you say, it's not even that she thinks she's superior, she knows she's superior. It was a real sense of, and I cite the wardrobe because I felt that the wardrobe was saying, you know, we would sit in the great hall and all the extras would be there and they'd be so filthy. And then he was sitting there in this white wardrobe that's saying, I never get dirty. You know, I can't possibly be you. I never get dirty. And so to go from that, as you say, to then really being, you know, begging to be a slave in order to survive, we had such an amazing distance that we could travel to get to that image at the end, which is Siggy basically. I love the fact that when the disease hits, she's not in a private chamber. She's lying in a straw mat on the floor. Her daughter's on a straw mat on the floor with every other person from the village who's ill. And basically, the assumption is that we're all just going to die there. You know, there's not much that anybody can do. And so, as you say, to where we began and where we ended, where she ended by episode 9, was an amazing arc, which obviously I enjoy. I mean, Michael, and what's nice going into the second season, of course, is now we know where Siggy is, but we know where she's been. And I don't think that she's gonna stay there for very long.
Jessalyn, so you guys are heading into production in a couple of weeks now, so obviously you've seen some scripts, and obviously you can't give everything away, but can you give us some teasers to what to expect for the first couple episodes?
Oh, I'll tell you everything.
Excellent.
So, well, the first episode is really shocking, and I feel like what Michael's saying from the get-go is, look, this is, you know, we have this amazing fan base, and everybody loves these characters, and that's a great thing, but we're living in a world where immortality is in question every moment of every day, and every single one of these characters is expendable. And so he's pretty ruthless from the first script. When you do a show like this, you have no job security, let's put it that way. You know, he's just done such an amazing job of really, when I'm sort of flashing through what I've read, and where everybody came at the end of the first season, everybody has an objective. Everyone's objectives are in conflict with one another. And he's done that in such a subtle way, but if you think of Lagertha, and you think of Siggy, and you think of Ragnar, and you think of Rollo, we all want the same thing. So now it's sort of game on, I guess.
Last question.
Were you surprised with the success of the show? Was one of those like rare out-of-the-box hits both here and in the States. Were you surprised? Was the cast surprised to have the audience embraced it?
You know, I've made this comparison before, and it sounds really silly, but it was a little like Glee. In that, when we were filming the pilot of Glee, I remember thinking, and we all said this, those of us who were doing it, I really like this. I would watch this. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to find an audience. And I think when we were doing Vikings, I cannot express to you enough how impressive the production design was. Just everything that was in place before we stepped on to the set the bar for how high the expectations were of this team, that they were not going to do a glossy, Hollywood, that we were really going to go for it and hope that people would find it. So, in the sense, was I proud of what we had done? Absolutely. Does that mean that we knew that people would find it and that people would stick with it and that people would enjoy it this much? You'd be lying if you knew that. You never know. But I'm so excited to go back just to celebrate with all the people who you don't see on camera, whose work is being recognized and I think appreciated, because they were tireless in their standards, and it's really, really exciting that the audience has responded.